Statue of Liberty disappearing. Copperfield created the famous illusion by putting a curtain in front of the audience and the statue, and then seemingly making it vanish into thin air. He did this by rotating the platform that the audience was on just enough so that the statue would be behind one of the pillars. He also played loud bass music so that people wouldn't notice the vibrations from the stage turning. David Copperfield's laser illusion. This is a laser illusion where lasers seemingly slice through his body, creating the illusion of his body getting cut in half and him holding his lower half. He achieves this by getting into an awkward stance and holding a pair of fake legs in front of him. The illusion only works from the front, and it is easily noticeable from sides or back. Bullet catch. The magician has to catch a bullet fired from a pistol with his teeth. The truth is that the gun fires blanks. The performer marks a bullet and only pretends to put it into the gun, while in reality he keeps it in his hand using fast hand movements. He then puts it in his mouth and keeps it there until it's time to show it. The pane of glass through which the bullet should purportedly pass through is set to destroy itself just when the gun is fired. Dove pan. A magician reveals alive birds or other objects from an empty pan. This is achieved by using a double-bottomed pan, allowing the magician to secretly load objects into the hidden compartment before revealing them during the performance. Guillotine. In this illusion, the magician is first strapped into a guillotine, then his head is cut off by the executioner. Later, it is revealed that the executioner is actually the magician. This is possible because he is wearing armor that is shaped exactly like his body. When the assistants are helping him to get back in the guillotine, they are actually removing the armor and allowing him to escape. Since the armor looks exactly like a person, the audience doesn't notice anything. He goes and changes his clothes to become the executioner from a door underneath the place he should be tied at. He then comes as the executioner with a mask on and performs the trick. Indian rope trick. The rope is an empty tube and the basket is placed on the top cover of an empty cave. The assistant hidden underneath opens the bottom cover of the basket and sticks a rod inside the empty rope. The rod is like the selfie rod, which can be shortened or extended. Once the magician climbs the rope, the rod is drawn quickly and the rope goes back to normal. Audiences are not allowed to examine the spot where the basket is put on. Miser's dream. Very similar to Inexhaustible Bottle, this time the magician produces an endless stream of coins from seemingly empty hands or a container. This is achieved by secretly palming coins and then appearing to pluck them out of thin air or from the container during the performance. Metamorphosis. The trick consists in putting the magician's assistant inside a closed box with the top lid chained and swapping it with the magician, making it seem like he teleported inside it. A curtain is then placed on the box and the magician gets in the box in 3 seconds, which is possible because the box actually misses the back part of it, allowing the assistant to slide the lid off the box and open it. When the curtain is removed, the magician has already entered the box and put the lid back on. The curtain can't be fully removed in this process because that's where the assistant hides by ducking. Needle through arm. The magician pushes a big needle through his arm. Before the trick, the magician applies cement to his forearm, which is impossible to detect when it dries. He then performs the trick and quickly pinches his skin around the needle, and the cement causes the skin to stick to itself, making it seem like the needle is inside the skin. The needle has fake blood, making it seem even more real. Chink-a-chink. Chink-a-chink is a magic trick where objects are moved around with sleight of hand. The magician starts with 4 objects on the table and 1 hidden in their hand. He covers 2 objects with his hands in a fancy way to distract the audience. While doing this, they drop the hidden object and palm another one. This swapping motion continues until all objects are in a pile. Cups and balls. Balls appear, disappear, and multiply under cups, seemingly defying the laws of physics. This is done by hiding an extra ball in one of the cups. The magician places the cups carefully so that the secret extra ball is never revealed. Floating match on card. A matchstick appears to float above a playing card without any visible support. This is accomplished using a small piece of invisible thread attached to the card. When the card is straight, the matchstick can be put on these invisible wires. After the card is bent, the matchstick appears to be floating above the card. Asra levitation. The assistant first lies on a bench, which is then covered by a cloth. The assistant suddenly starts rising and levitating in the air, and then disappears when the cloth is removed. This is done by hiding the assistant in a secret part of the bench which uses spandex flaps, making it extra fast for her to hide in it. A wire skeleton replaces the assistant. When the wire skeleton is high enough, the magician removes the cloth, and the wire skeleton gets pushed higher really quickly, also using lighting to hide it. 3-card Monte. In a 3-card Monte, the dealer holds 3 cards, usually 2 losing cards and 1 winning card. The spectator has actually no chance of guessing correctly. The secret to this trick is in the way the magician tosses the cards, since it looks like he's dropping the winning card on the table while he's dropping a losing one, making your eyes follow the wrong card from the beginning. Zero shuffle. This is a special type of shuffle that looks like a normal one, but actually keeps the order of the cards the same. The zero shuffle starts with the magician performing a classic card shuffle, but before locking the cards with each other, he uses the top card as cover and re-separates them. When the cards are at their starting point, he places them in order, giving the illusion of shuffling. Scotch and soda. The magician shows a Mexican centavo and an American half-dollar, and he makes the latter vanish. This is achieved using a special gimmicked dollar coin that has only one face and a magnetic hollow spot on the other side, allowing the second coin to stick to it and look like one coin. Table of Death. The Table of Death is a magic trick where a performer is restrained on a table under menacing metal spikes and he must escape before the spikes fall, while concealed by a curtain. The sides and the bottom of the platform are not covered, so the audience knows he is always above the table. But when the spikes are released and the platform crushes down, it is revealed that the magician is standing on top of the platform unharmed. First, the magician breaks easily free from the fake straps and quickly rolls over to the only place on the platform where the spikes don't strike. He then rolls back to the position before the curtain is removed. David Copperfield levitating. Copperfield performed a levitating performance where he flew all over the stage and did acrobatic moves in the air. David flew with the help of 2 strong wires that were attached to an acrobatic belt, but he used rings and a glass box to show that there were no wires attached to him. So how is that possible? In reality, the rings were moved in a special way so that they never touched the wires, and the glass box had 2 holes for the wires to make them move freely. This is why he only showed his left side to the audience while he was in the box. Zigzag Girl. The assistant gets in a box which has holes that show her face and hands. The magician gives her something to hold to prove those are her hands. Then he places 2 blades into the box, separating her middle section. The magician then pushes the part that contains the middle section to the side, and she waves the object to prove it's her real hands. And the entire box is turned around to show there are no mirrors or any tricks. The box is indeed real, but the illusion is made by making the blades appear bigger than they really are, and making it seem like they cover the entire box, while she has just enough room to suck her stomach in and not touch the blades. When the magician moves the middle section to the side, she can remain in the same place and follow the section with her hand to wave the object. David Blaine's levitation. The magician appears to levitate in front of a staircase. His pants and shoes are actually cut so that he can just get his leg out and step in the stairs to pretend to levitate. To prevent the shoe from dangling, there is a mechanism that keeps it tightly secured. His back is turned to the audience, so the leg cannot be seen at all. Street magic levitation. The magician appears to be balancing himself and levitating in the air with just a small stick. In reality, the stick is actually a metal rod that is connected to a seat the magician can sit on. The magician wears thick clothing to hide the seat. Head drop trick. The magician drops his head way further than he normally could. This is done by keeping the large coat still using a frame, making it appear as he only moves his head. Holding breath underwater. The magician gets in a water tank with a timer on the side and appears to hold his breath for over 18 minutes. After he's been underwater for a while, he floats to the surface while keeping his head underwater. He doesn't move for the rest of the 18 minutes, while one of his assistants is constantly checking his pulse to make sure he is not having medical problems. The trick happens exactly the moment he floats to the surface. In reality, the timer hides an oxygen tank that is connected to the assistant girl who checks his pulse. The assistant cleverly attaches the tube in her hand to a tube on the magician's back, allowing him to breathe. The assistant near the timers turns off the air supply from the oxygen tank when it's time for the magician to come out.